You ever meet someone who's so petty they'll make your life harder just to prove they're in charge? Well, this guy, my fiancé's boss, thought he could pull that off until karma clocked in right on time. And let's just say, I didn't even have to raise my voice. I just outplayed him at his own game. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you love seeing arrogant people get a taste of their own medicine, then hit that like button and subscribe. Because today's story is all about a petty boss, a sick day, and a little dose of poetic justice. Trust me, this one's deeply satisfying. I run a physical therapy clinic, small but thriving. My fiancée, on the other hand, is a lawyer at a fairly large firm. She's sharp, dedicated, and unfortunately, works for a man who's convinced that being difficult makes him important. Let's call him Mr. Preston. Even his name sounds like he charges people for breathing near him. Now, a few months back, during our engagement party, I joked with some of my fiancé's colleagues that I'd offer them a discount if they ever needed physical therapy. It was all lighthearted, but guess what? 4 of them actually became regulars. Then one day, Mr. Preston himself booked an appointment. I'd heard stories about him, arrogant, condescending, and apparently allergic to humility. And wow, the rumors were an understatement. He walked in like he owned the place, suit pressed, attitude on full display. He spent half the session bragging about his firm, his car, his leadership style, which apparently involved scaring interns half to death. I stayed professional, though. I smiled, listened, and did my job. At the end of the session, when he paid, he casually asked if he'd get the same employee discount his co-workers got. I smiled and said, "Oh, that's only for employees," with the smuggest little grin. He didn't like that one bit. His face went tight, like someone told him his coffee order was out of stock. But he came back a few times after that. Each time, I could tell he was fishing for validation, pretending to be friendly but always testing boundaries, like the type of guy who'd correct your grammar mid-sentence just to feel superior. Then one day, during another session, we started chatting about work. I mentioned that one of my therapists was out sick and that I had to cover their patients. He asked if they had a medical certificate for it. I laughed and said, "Nah, I trust my team. If someone's sick, I'd rather they stay home than infect the clinic." But Mr. Preston shook his head and said, "That's why people slack off. You gotta enforce rules or they'll walk all over you." The irony is, this man preaches rules, but bends them for himself any chance he gets. Fast forward a few days, I catch a nasty cold. Not a big deal, until my fiancée catches it too. She gets hit hard. By Friday, she's pale, dizzy, and running a fever. I convince her to work from home that day. She powers through Friday, but by Monday, she's completely out of it. Dizzy, lightheaded, can barely stand without holding on to something. So she calls in sick. And that's when the pettiness begins. Monday morning, she gets an email from Mr. Preston, and not a nice one. Per office policy, you'll need a medical certificate to justify your absence. Now, keep in mind, this policy has never been enforced. Not once. He clearly just wanted to flex his authority, probably because she's one of the few who doesn't feed his ego. But here's where the universe decided to have a little fun. Guess who had a 2 p.m. appointment with me that same day? Yep, Mr. Preston. I booked my fiancée an appointment with her doctor at, you guessed it, 2 p.m. Then I emailed Mr. Preston. "Hey, sorry, I have to cancel your appointment today. My fiancé's unwell, and I need to drive her to the doctor. I'll reach out if I have any availability later." And I didn't, because my next 3 weeks were completely booked. Within 10 minutes, he texted both of us. "Oh, that's not necessary. She doesn't need a doctor's note. Let's just forget about it." Now, suddenly the rules weren't so important anymore. My fiancée responded, "Sorry, can't cancel last minute clinic policy." And I followed up with, "Yeah, it's best she goes. Her doctor will make sure she's fit to return." He didn't reply after that. I imagine him fuming in his office, realizing he'd just been outdone by the same soft couple he liked to look down on. The next day, my fiancée walks in with her doctor's note, fully legitimate by the way, and hands it to him with the politest smile. He muttered a "thank you" without eye contact. Later that week, one of her co-workers told her he'd complained about people taking things too literally. Oh, the irony. You enforce a rule to flex power and get trapped in it yourself. That's karma in corporate form. And I didn't even need to raise my voice. Here's what I learned. People who thrive on control always crumble when they lose it, especially when the loss comes wrapped in their own hypocrisy. Sometimes, revenge doesn't need to be loud or messy. It just needs to be strategic, timely, and poetic. If that story gave you chills or made you laugh, hit that like button and tell me in the comments, what's the pettiest thing a boss has ever done to you? And of course, subscribe for more Reddit revenge stories that prove karma always finds a parking spot, eventually.